Hey everyone, you don't know me, and I don't know myself either. That's because I deal with depersonalization. So what exactly is depersonalization? It is described as feeling disconnected or detached from oneself. Individuals experiencing depersonalization may report feeling as if they are outside the observer of their own body or their thoughts, and often report feeling a loss of control over their thoughts and actions. That definitely describes how I've been feeling for the last 2 years dealing with this horrible disorder. I never exactly was diagnosed with it because it's really hard to explain to doctors or anyone what exactly this is and how it feels. And that's probably the most frustrating part about depersonalization, is explain to your friends what exactly this is and how frustrating it is to feel normal again. Annoying is a little bit of an understatement, I would say. It actually has caused a lot more damage to me in some ways possible. So I got depersonalization through smoking weed. And me and weed have a really weird history where I've had some really great times on it and I've had some really bad times. And mostly it's been bad. But for some reason this time around, I got really stubborn and I got brave and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, take one quick hit. This sounds kind of like a 80s PSA, but...
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please.
But, I mean, it literally was one hit of weed where I took a big rip. I was immediately high off my ass and I couldn't even concentrate. I couldn't even play music because we were actually at a band rehearsal with my band at the time. I remember just being like, okay, I've been through this before, it's been fine. I'm just gonna, go with the flow of the high and deal with it. But, 5 minutes, actually not 5 minutes, 2 minutes into the song, I couldn't even sing or concentrate on what I was playing. And so we cut off the practice short and then we just kind of chilled out. Everything around me just felt just overstimulating, just like any panic attack would with weed in general. But this time it was just much more heightened and just a little different. I had to be picked up by my girlfriend at the time because I couldn't even drive my car. That's how bad it was. And then I just slept the rest of the day off and thought that, this high would go away. And it kind of did. And so I woke up the next morning and just kind of went about my life as usual, went back to rehearsal, finished that up the next day, and then just went about life. But for some weird reason, there would be these weird moments throughout the day where I felt this really weird swell or whelping feeling in my vision. It kind of felt like tunnel vision. And I didn't know exactly what that was. I thought that I was having a panic attack because I've had panic attacks in the past before, but it still felt different where it felt like something was just separating myself from reality slowly, but I still felt like I was in control to some degree. And I became very agoraphobic over the week. There would be weird moments where I would just start to feel really anxious and panicky if I was in a social setting. And keep in mind, like, I'm a very extroverted person, if some of y'all may know me. But for some reason, it made me just want to escape and get away from everything as much as possible. Everything became really overstimulated for me. Everything became really amplified to some degree. Lights, sounds, people, everything kind of felt like a delay or like a weird echo for me. So I spent about a week bedridden and I couldn't sleep. I had trouble focusing on how to talk. It kind of just felt like my mind just went completely slow and I couldn't function properly. I wasn't myself anymore. Those were honestly some dark times for me, and I never want to, think about them again. And it's actually really hard for me to talk about it now with this video, but I want to do this video because I know there's plenty of people out there that are dealing with the same thing that I've dealt with. And it sucks, and I'm really, really sorry that you're dealing with this. So that first month of dealing with depersonalization, I just stopped going out completely. I wasn't very social, I stayed at home a whole lot, and I felt like I was just non-existent to some point. I felt like a ghost. I would do everything I could to, ground myself by going outside and taking walks, but even walks made it really hard for me because I felt overstimulated by everything around me. And so I just continued just to stay in my room and watch movies just to be stimulated by something, I suppose, and just not, I guess, leave my own reality that I didn't even identify with. I had to identify with a different reality, if that makes any sense, because this whole thing doesn't make sense to me still to this day. But over time, the effects of depersonalization start to dwindle down for me. This thing is going to take a lot of time, either a short amount of time for some, or a lot of time, or forever. I don't know. It's really up to you and how bad you want to get rid of this thing. And I worked my butt off just to get rid of this. And where I'm at today, 2 years later, I would say I feel somewhat better. There are some good days and there are some bad days with it. It's just like any other chronic illness. You have to treat it, you have to keep up to date with it, and you have to deal with it to some extent. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to accept this. Depersonalization is definitely one of those that you have to accept because you're going to be dealing with this for a little bit of some time. And once you accept this, you kind of have to just ride with it. You have to feel with it, you have to deal with it. It's kind of just like wearing a really uncomfortable shoe throughout the day and someone's making you run. But you have to find a good rhythm with it and understand it, and it's gonna be your new friend. And this friend is really shitty most of the time. So what's the second thing that you should be doing? I want you to sleep as much as possible. Get 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours. When you're not dealing with all this, you're just dealing with dreams, right? So the third thing I want you to do is I want you to exercise as much as possible. These don't have to be really intense workouts. These can be very light because actually when I first started dealing with depersonalization, I was trying to run, and that just made my heart go up like crazy, and it just increased the anxiety. Find some type of exercise that suits you best. It could be from yoga, it could be from cycling, it could be from running, walking, lifting weights. As long as you're moving your body, doing something that makes you feel good, it will definitely help you out in the long run. I mean, do whatever makes you feel good, honestly. You don't have to go by what I do, but you do you, and you get back you. Plus, I forgot to mention too, with exercise also comes diet. Your diet has to change completely with whatever you're doing to make it worse right now. Get rid of the fast food, cut down on the alcohol, cut down on the caffeine. The caffeine part was really hard for me because I love coffee, I love energy drinks. At first I couldn't drink coffee at all. Coffee was really harsh on me. Like I would take one sip and I would immediately just have a panic attack, which would never happen after one sip either, right? So definitely take your vitamins for sure. I take this one vitamin, it's a multivitamin for men, and I'm sure that they have some for women as well, if you want to take a look at that. But this is a really good multivitamin that I take, and I think it's been doing me well so far. Also, I take a lot of fish oil. Fish oil definitely helps with depression and anxiety. It might work for you, might not, but it definitely worked for me. Give it a try. And the last thing that I take for depersonalization, it's kind of ironic, is CBD oil. I take this every night to help with my sleep because depersonalization actually affected my sleep pretty hard. I was definitely very skeptical about this because obviously I have an issue with weed, but luckily enough, I mean, it doesn't contain THC, which is the stuff that makes you high, but this stuff just chills me out and I get the best sleep every night because of it. The fourth thing I want you to do is I want you to stay busy. I want you to stay stimulated with something that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy. It can be either from, listening to music, playing an instrument, learning some type of new hobby, reading a book, movies, you name it. Anything just to keep your brain distracted as much as possible, I strongly recommend, because once you sit there and kind of zone out and fall into this existential dread and pit, it's not going to get any better. And the more you overthink it, the more it's going to get worse. And the fifth thing I want you to do for your depersonalization is lessen your surroundings as much as possible. Try to keep everything very minimal. Dim the lights, light some candles, create your type of like spa or something like that. Anything that will make you feel good in your home. You want to be very comfortable. Try your best to get rid of anything that's going to overstimulate you. I like to have some low lights. I like to have some calming music going on whenever I'm feeling really anxious about this. Also, it's very important to keep everything organized as much as possible too. Clean your room, make sure that your room isn't a constant mess, or your house is a constant mess, because that anxiety is going to drive you up even more. The more minimal your life is going to be, the less you're going to have to worry about. So what did we learn today? Acceptance is key. Get plenty of sleep. I want you to sleep as much as possible. Trust me, it's going to help. Diet, exercise, watch your health, cut out the caffeine, cut out the alcohol. Keep your mind distracted, stimulate your brain as much as possible. What I want you to do is keep a clean room, minimize your surroundings, and it will clear your mind by all means necessary. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is actually my very first YouTube video, so I've been very nervous about doing this, but I wanted to do something that was very meaningful to me, and I know that a lot of people that are dealing with the current times are probably dealing with this as well. So yeah, that about wraps it up for today. I'm actually going to have some more videos in regards to depersonalization. I'm probably going to try my best to go a little bit deeper with everything. I would love to hear your stories, maybe how you got better, or what are the things that you do to get better. This thing has changed my life completely. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I will see you soon.